Hey everybody, I just got done hosting a workshop on healing the inner child for a friend's program. And since the codes and the energy is so fresh, I wanted to just come on and share a little flavor of that energy. I'm not going to go too much into depth just because I'm going to be covering this in more depth on Sunday, but I've just kind of been coming on and giving little tasters of the energy that we're really going to be working with and integrating on Sunday. So the thing that I want to bring through is around reparenting. And I've spoken about this before, but all these concepts are things that are going to have to be spoken about over and over and over again, so that we can understand the nuance of it and all the different layers, and maybe also hear about it in a way that we've never heard about it before. So when we start to shift a lot of the wounding and the trauma, and we start to go into it and heal it, excuse me, what we find is that our inner child or children or all these different aspects of us have been basically running the show. And it's not until we introduce this larger consciousness, this awareness that is really beyond any one particular part of us, when we do that, we start to shift the internal parent structure. And so the structure that's usually there is the one that we developed in childhood. We're just gonna, we have an internalized version of each of our parents. And of course we have the templating of the way that impacted us, the imprint of that. And so when we do things like polarity integration or parts work, well, that's just one of the things that we do to create an aware ego. We are, this amazing thing happens. And this is really actually quite cosmic. This is beyond just, that's what this awareness is. Once we start to be able to move out of the identification that we have with any one part of us, we move into this awareness that is larger than just that one part, so we can start to have a relationship with it. And it's a painful process, because in having to reparent these aspects of ourselves, what we are met with is just like kind of the lack of knowing how to do that, because all we have is what we were basically given, which is usually very insufficient. And so there's this grief process of like, wow, I've literally just been on autopilot. I don't even know how to take care of myself. I don't even know how to take care of my own vulnerabilities. And so through this process, though, of disidentification, of being able to witness and observe and see what that pattern is and see what that energy is, there's this loving compassion within the heart that gets activated. And even if you never received that love in childhood, or you maybe never even saw that form of love given to you in your life up until this point, that love is you, so it lives in you. And once we allow a space for that compassionate witness, that loving heart, we literally would never allow anything to happen to our own innocence and vulnerability anymore. This is the resurrection of the true mother and the true father within us, because the true mother and father would never allow ourselves to put ourselves in dangerous situations, in situations where we're not appreciated, where we're not seen. We would really protect ourselves, and not in a way that's to shut off from the outside world, but in a way that is discerning and so loving, the way that a parent would be to a child. And, it's not just a concept. There's a literal energetic shift that happens in your field where you literally will not allow the mistreatment of yourself from another human being. And that's because you're no longer mistreating yourself. You're now the advocate who steps in and is able to advocate on behalf of your own vulnerability by taking care of it, by being in relationship with it, by being connected to it. Because, what we do is we turn against ourselves. Every single one of us at some point turned against ourselves to socially survive. And so when we turn back towards ourselves with this loving compassion, it's really amazing the way that, we do different things, we say different things, where we position ourselves, and really where God positions us it's pretty amazing, actually, how quickly we can start to shift these things. Because there's a sense of self-worth and self-esteem that is connected to the reparenting process, right? We are identifying and acknowledging our worth and our innocence, and anything that we've picked up along the way, anything that we feel like we need to hold on to or be shameful of, we can literally learn what we need to learn from that. And then the inner parent is so compassionate and so loving. It's that Christed energy that says, you don't need to continue to hold on to this. Like, you're okay. God understands that when we come here, we're going to pick up all kinds of things. That doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. What matters is turning back towards ourselves, validating ourselves, reparenting ourselves in a loving way. And in that process, there is like a filtration that just naturally happens, and it filters out anything that is not loving. And it's also so clear because once you integrate what that frequency is, you can hold that frequency up against people and beings and situations. And you can go, does this match with this template? And if it doesn't, then we need to proceed with caution. And that's not expecting everybody to be perfect. That would be abusive to ourselves and other people. But that just means that we get to be really discerning. And when we honor ourselves, when we feel that we really are sacred and we know that, we treat ourselves very differently, and the situations that we put ourselves in change, the people we put ourselves around change. And that's so important. That's so important because that's, the number one thing that trauma does is it degrades the identity. We internalize these things to mean that there is something wrong with us, there's something bad about us. And it's really that compassionate witness that says, my dear, there is nothing wrong with you. Stop doing that to yourself. The same way you wouldn't look at a dog or an animal that had been abused and go, you just need to get over this. This is ridiculous. No. Or we would be like, why am I acting like this? Or why are these things happening? It's not really a mystery. We know why. And so we can't allow these experiences to cut ourselves off from ourselves or to cut ourselves off from our heart. The last thing I want to say before I round this out tonight is the importance of really orienting ourselves in time and space in what we are doing. So I said in my last live, I was like, it's so easy for us to forget what we're doing here. So, but I don't know that I really outlined, probably did, but I'm going to reiterate what I meant by that and why that's so important. Sorry, I just got distracted. I saw somebody come in that I know some of you, but okay, remind me of just what I was saying. I got distracted. This feels important because it maybe didn't get said in the last live, so I really want to make sure I say it this time, but I just totally lost my train of thought. Can anybody who was listening, can you please remind me? Thank you. What we came here to do. Oh, just that like big cosmic ass question and big ass cosmic orientation of ourselves in time and space. Yeah, what we came here to do. So the sooner that we can all get on board with the fact that this is an initiation station, the happier that we're going to be. So there's like very fundamental, by the way, I'm going to go through all the natural laws and things in the workshop. I'm so excited to go through all of that. But at a very basic level, we have to understand that we came here literally with the intention of allowing the contrast of this reality, of allowing these traumatic experiences to show us everything that we need to know and decode from the inside out. This is happening for us. Even the most, that's the only way to really orient yourself. Because if you're still in the mindset that this is happening to you and you're not constantly focusing on how can I use this, then we're continuously going to be a victim to everything that's happening around us. So the sooner that we can recognize this is happening for us, I agreed to this on some level. A lot of people have a lot of parts of them that are totally in resistance to this reality. They have not even accepted that this is what's going on here. And I get it. I have days where I'm like, I can't accept this. Today, when I literally for an hour straight was in the most excruciating pain from cramps, oh my God, I might as well have been giving birth. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm so good on this. I'm so good on this fucking reality. And then after I took 700 milligrams of something in like an hour and 10 minutes later, I'd be feeling like I gave birth. It felt like a 16-hour hangover condensed into 1 hour of misery. But then when I came out of it, I was like, oh my God, I feel so amazing right now. Like, oh, like the contrast of feeling so good right now. And I think, there's people who feel like that after they get sick, or, if you break an arm or something and then you suddenly have access to your arm again. It's the contrast of that. So there is no escaping that. There is no escaping pain. You can escape suffering, because suffering is the byproduct of ignoring your pain and not listening to what it is that you're supposed to be integrating or learning about this. And so we just get stuck in a loop. But yeah, so what are we doing here? We are being initiated through the cosmos, the same exact way that our planet Earth is being initiated through the cosmos. So, there is a very specific way that we move through cycles, that we move through time. And a lot of beings right now are very out of time. We're in the re-spiritualization arc. And what that means is we're being confronted with everything that gets in the way of our connection to our own multidimensionality, to God, to Source. We're being challenged to see where we're still limited in what we're able to open ourselves up to, where we're still completely anchored and locked into the material world. We need the material world. We need this contrast. We need all of it for our soul's refinement. But it's through bringing in this cosmic perspective. It's through bringing in the perspective of our own higher selves. And we're braiding that in. We're allowing that to expand us out of just the checkerboard, out of just seeing the black and white and just being the black and white and being polarized. And that is us operating from the wounded child and being polarized into those timelines and actually split. And our energy goes into those timelines. And so we're not actually here. We don't actually have all of our energy here in this moment. And so we're literally recapitulating with ourselves through these cycles. And there's things that die, and there's things that appear, and there's things that are reborn and transformed. And those are all laws. So if we understand that these are laws, that there are that things that govern this reality, it's not so shocking anymore. And we can actually kind of ease ourselves back and find a level of safety within that that knowing that there is a rhythm to this. There are rhythms, there are cycles, and as long as we are following and going with the natural progression and evolution of the life impulse, then we are fine. And if we have this expectation that that shouldn't be happening, or we're in resistance to that, and we're not learning how to just become a better surfer, but we're just assuming and commanding that the waves stop or that they change form, we're going to be very unhappy. And so the sooner that we can just get on the board, get on the surfboard, and keep getting up and keep learning how to surf these waves, the better off that we're going to be. And like I said, there's a level of safety in that, because also within the rhythm, we know that nothing is forever going to be unchanged. So even in those moments, like the most acute emotional pain, physical pain, whatever it is, that will pass. And we can also take refuge in knowing that, and that is a law. So I'm going to go really deep into all of this in the workshop. But yeah, I hope this is helpful. There's some little codes and nuggets in here for everybody. Be Wild Not Evil says the ocean is eternally moving and shaping the land it touches. It's beautiful. So, all of this basically leads us to the creation of the triunion, the creation of this Holy Trinity within ourselves. And that is really the pathway home, and that is our practice, and that is our initiation. And we're going to go into that open system and creating that open system on the 19th. So I hope you guys are well, and yeah, thanks for being here. And I will see a lot of you on Sunday.